She was born of ambition that was funded by coffee and shaped by diplomacy, then forged in a world on the brink of chaos. HMS Agincourt did not begin life as a British battleship. She was a political gamble laid down in 1911 by Brazil, eager to craft the crown jewel of South America's most powerful navy. Riding high on a surge of wealth, Brazil set out to declare its arrival on the world stage, with a ship unlike any other, a battleship built to outgun every rival. The ship they ordered from the British was to be the most heavily armed battleship on Earth. 14 12-inch guns in 7 twin turrets. A floating fortress designed to outgun every rival afloat. She would be the crown jewel of Brazil's navy and a symbol of its rising power. Her name was Rio de Janeiro, and her design was audacious. 7 twin turrets, 14 12-inch guns, more main battery barrels than any warship in history. She was a floating fortress, not just built to fight, but to intimidate. But Brazil's dream was short-lived. Political unrest and a faltering economy forced the government to sell the unfinished Leviathan. That's when the Ottoman Empire stepped in. Seeking to reclaim its influence at sea, the Ottomans bought the nearly completed warship and renamed her Sultan Osman I. Turkish ports buzzed with anticipation. But in August 1914, the world changed. War was coming, and the Royal Navy was watching. With tensions rising and alliances shifting, the British Admiralty made a bold and controversial move. On August 3, just one day before Britain declared war on Germany, Winston Churchill, then First Lord of the Admiralty, ordered the seizure of both Ottoman battleships that were still under construction in British yards. Among them, Sultan Osman I. Renamed HMS Agincourt and rushed into British service, her seizure enraged the Ottomans, pushing them toward the Central Powers and deeper into the coming conflict. Now painted in British grey, Agincourt was massive, strange, and formidable, but unorthodox. Her 14 guns stretched across 7 turrets along nearly the entire length of her hull. From afar, she resembled a floating fortress on a knife's edge. Her secondary guns were weak, and her armor thinner than her British sisters. Some Royal Navy officers mocked her as the Gin Palace, an exotic outsider crammed awkwardly into their fleet and a play on words. But despite the snickers, Agincourt had something the Royal Navy needed: presence. Joining the Grand Fleet at Scapa Flow, she underwent gunnery drills and sea trials as war raged across Europe. Her unique turret layout demanded precise coordination. Each gun had to fire in sequence to manage the immense blast forces. When she finally fired all 14 guns at once, it was like thunder tearing the sky into pieces. The sailors called it the full Agincourt, a spectacle of smoke and raw firepower. And soon, she would unleash it in battle. By 1916, HMS Agincourt had earned her place among the giants of the Grand Fleet, despite whispers that she was a foreign oddity or a political pawn. But no one could deny her size or the firepower she carried. On May 31, 1916, the North Sea churned beneath cold grey skies. The British Grand Fleet steamed out to confront the German High Seas Fleet in what would become the largest naval battle of World War I, the Battle of Jutland. Under Captain G.L. Duff, Agincourt took her place in the line of battle. Towering over many British sisters, she was unique: 14 12-inch guns in 7 twin turrets, stretched bow to stern. No other battleship looked quite like her. Yet as battle began, her guns remained silent for hours. Vice Admiral Beatty's battlecruisers fought desperately to the south, suffering heavy losses. The dreadnoughts, including Agincourt, raced to join the fight. Finally, in the early evening, Agincourt opened fire. Her first salvo was precise and calculated. But then came the order every sailor aboard Agincourt was waiting to hear: fire all! For the first and only time in her career, Agincourt unleashed all 14 guns simultaneously. The blast was deafening, smoke billowed across the decks in choking clouds. The ship trembled as every turret thundered. Every gun, speaking at once, in a storm of fire and steel. The Germans could not help but notice. Though she scored no confirmed hits, her furious broadsides forced the enemy to alter course and seek cover under smoke. Agincourt fired 144 shells during the battle, an extraordinary feat for a design never intended for rapid fire. She emerged unscathed, not struck by a single enemy shell. The battle ended in frustration. Both sides claimed victory, but control of the North Sea remained contested. Britain lost more ships, but Germany failed to break the blockade strangling its economy. For Agincourt, Jutland would be her only major action of the war. The rest of the conflict was spent patrolling with the Grand Fleet, holding the line against a German navy that rarely ventured out. Still, she had proven her worth. After Jutland, Agincourt returned to Scapa Flow, still an outsider in the Royal Navy's fleet, a ship that sprawling turret layout complicated logistics, and whose armor and fire control lagged behind newer ships. Yet she remained on duty. From 1916 to 1918, Agincourt kept watch over the North Sea, part of the mighty Grand Fleet that bottled up the German high seas fleet. Drilling, training, and waiting for an enemy that seldom appeared. A strange service, glorious in scale, but uneventful in action. By November 1918, the guns fell silent. The armistice was signed, and Agincourt witnessed the German fleet surrender, steaming alongside as the high seas fleet was interned at Scapa Flow. For Agincourt, the war was over, but peace brought no reward. Now a ship without a purpose, she lingered as the Royal Navy faced budget cuts and naval arms limitations. In 1922, the Washington Naval Treaty sought to limit battleship construction and scrap older vessels. Despite being barely a decade old, Agincourt was marked for retirement. She never fired another shot in anger. Never sailed into battle again. In 1924, the ship that shocked the Royal Navy with her 7 turrets and fort at Jutland was quietly sold for scrap. No museum, no preserved guns, no tribute. Only silence. From the gun decks to the bridge, every story we tell honors those who served. If this tale made you feel the salt and steel of history, give it a like, and if you're not yet part of our channel's convoy, subscribe and join the ranks. More powerful stories await.